Hey, how's it going? Jacob Palacio here. Whoa, what? He's back with the new video? Yeah, I'm back with the new video. That's right, I'm back. It's finally here. Let me tell you, friends, these past couple weeks have not been in my favor at all. I have been sick. I'm actually still a little bit sick, but today's the first day where I actually feel okay enough to, you know, make a video. So that's part of the reason why it's been so long for me to make my next video, but I'm feeling a little bit better. So, you know, let's give this shit a shot. Let's go. Another reason why it's taken me so long to make my next video is because I just don't know what to make a video about. Until now, of course, as you can probably tell by the title. I was becoming incredibly overwhelmed by the amount of options that I can do for my next YouTube video. For example, you know, the new movie Barbarian came out, the new movie Pearl came out, Terrifier 2 came out. There's a whole bunch of new movies that came out that I can talk about, that I want to talk about, and, you know, that's on top of other things that I want to talk about as well. So, here's what I decided to do. I am creating a new series of sorts where I'm going to talk about all the movies that I watched the previous month. I'm just basically gonna go down, you know, my entire Letterboxd diary and, you know, talk to you guys about the movies that I watched for that month. So I will be talking about all of the movies that I watched in September of 2022. You know, I figured that would be the best way to go about this. That way, you know, I can just quickly give you guys my thoughts on all the movies that I've missed, you know, talking about on this channel that I'm sure you guys want to hear my thoughts on, or maybe you don't, maybe you're just here for the ride, in which case, welcome, you know, I hope you guys have a good time. So yeah, we're just gonna give this shit a go, we're just gonna wing it and see what happens, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna start talking about all the movies that I watched in the month of September, which, if my math is correct, I watched 11 films. I'm actually gonna cheat a little bit, and I'm gonna talk about some of the movies that I watched at the end of August, since there is some stuff that I watched in September that I don't think is really worth, you know, talking about in this video, so I'm going to replace those with some of the movies that I watched in August. This will probably be the only time I do this. Any other video after this, I'll probably actually be, you know, talking about all the movies that I watched in the month of whatever month it is. Anyways, but before I talk about any movies, whoa, hang on, what? Fucking shit, are you serious? Oh, fuck. God damn. I just cut my fucking foot. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Here. Let me see if you guys can see it. You can't really see it. Actually, it looks fine. Oh, by the way, I got a new tattoo. Check this shit out. It's a hat man. Look at that. Fucking crazy. This video is sponsored by Movie Palette. I talked about them in my previous video, and I will be talking about them in future videos to come, so get used to it. But this is a really cool company. Here, let me move my mic out of the way so you can look at this beautiful canvas that I have. This is from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Basically, what they do is they get a team of artists who carefully choose colors for, you know, canvas paintings. They take the most common color of every scene in the movie that is found, and then they make these colorful stripes that are then put on canvas in chronological order from left to right, and the length of each stripe actually represents the length of the scene in the movie, which I actually didn't know when I got this. But these things are really cool. They're actually really fucking well made. I love this thing. I have it hanging up on my wall. This is one of the first things that people usually point out when they come into my room. They're like, holy shit, what is that? You like art? And I'm just like, nah, man, this is all the colors from the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. And they're like, oh, you're a fucking nerd. But anyways, if you guys go to moviepalette.com, you will see they have a massive selection of movies that you can choose from. You can also suggest your own movie for them to create. But yeah, these things are really, really cool, and I highly suggest you go to the website moviepalette.com to pick up your own movie palette. I also have my own discount code, which is pretty lit. If you use Jacob15 at checkout, you will get 15% off your order. Once you've selected your desired movie palette, you can insert the discount code Jacob15 at checkout, which will give you 15% off your order. Zooey mama, what a steal. Oh my goodness gracious. So yeah, Movie Palette, great company. It's today's sponsor. If you guys want to support the channel, and if you want to, you know, have something cool for the house, put up some art in your living room, impress some people, some really cool looking stripes, then I highly recommend getting a Movie Palette. These things are pretty cool, very well made. And yeah, special thanks to Movie Palette for, you know, giving me this opportunity. I appreciate it, you guys. Thank you. But yeah, so that was today's sponsor. Okay, where were we? So, we're talking about movies that I watched in September. I'm just gonna rapid fire through these things. I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about each of these movies. And yeah, we're just gonna go. The first movie I'm going to talk about is a film called Shoplifters of the World. It's about 4 friends who are massive Smiths fans, and I mean massive. I'm talking like the main character has nothing but Smiths posters and memorabilia in her room. Like, it's fucking crazy. These people are obsessed with the Smiths. Way too obsessed than any normal human being should be. And one of the friends goes to a local radio station and holds the radio DJ at gunpoint and forces them to play nothing but the Smiths, I believe on the night where they announced that they were breaking up, if I remember correctly. So then all the Smiths fans of the world get together and they wreak havoc in the streets because their favorite band of all time, you know, is broken up and there's no more Smiths music to be released. But yeah, that's basically the movie. I was not a fan of this movie personally. The acting's pretty bad. You know, the story is just like, it's so weird. Not to mention, the movie features 20 songs by the Smiths. There are 20 Smiths songs that play in this movie. That's a lot of fucking Smiths, dude. There's so much Smiths in this movie, I am Smithed out. Like, this movie just follows some of the most unlikable characters I've ever seen in a movie. There's no redeeming qualities in any of them. You know, they're just massive Smiths fans. It's like they only listen to the Smiths. There's no other music in the world. And it's just, yeah, like, what the fuck? Anyways, I'd probably give this movie a 3 out of 10. I really do not like this. I would never watch it again. Just, you know, if you like the Smiths, listen to the Smiths. Don't really watch this movie. There's no point. Anyways, moving on. Moving on to the next movie I watched, it's a little film called Sundown. It is directed by Michel Franco. This is the guy who did New Order, After Lucia, Chronic. He's done a bunch of melodramatic movies, very depressing movies, very at times hard to watch movies that follow characters who are just really down in the dumps and are just, you know, not really enjoying life very much because of the obstacles that life is throwing at them at this point in time. And in this film, Sundown, we are following Tim Roth, who is on vacation with his family. At first I thought it was his wife, but it turns out that it's his sister. There's Tim Roth, his sister, and then 2 other younger people who, if I'm not mistaken, are his niece and nephew. I do not remember, to be honest. Anyways, their vacation is disrupted by an emergency phone call by somebody in the family member telling them that the mother is sick and she is, you know, it's heavily implied that she's about to pass away. So, you know, of course the family's very distressed and they are about to leave to the airport to go visit the mother. But Tim Roth forgets his passport, so he cannot leave the airport. So what he does is he leaves the family behind. He tells them, hey, I'll meet up with you guys later. And he goes back to the hotel to find his passport, only he's not finding his passport. In fact, this man is having a fucking existential midlife crisis or something, because he actually decides to stay in Acapulco, Mexico, which is where they're having their vacation, and he just kind of wanders around the streets, and he ends up meeting up with this prostitute, and he befriends this prostitute. Some other crazy shit happens in this movie that kind of just really throw you off guard. I don't want to get too much into it because it's technically would be a spoiler, but yeah, it gets, there's some crazy twists and turns in here. But a majority of the movie is just kind of following Tim Roth. I'm pretty sure every single scene in this movie has Tim Roth in it, so this movie is literally following him throughout the entire runtime, and he's just kind of like mindlessly just like wandering the streets, and he's going to the beach, and you know, the family's trying to get hold of him. He's ending up staying there for weeks, and he's calling them like, yeah, you know, I'm coming, but this dude's just putting in no effort to be with his family for whatever reason. Anyways, the movie's only 82 minutes. It is very, very short. It's on Hulu. If you guys have the time, I would actually recommend checking this movie out if you're in for like a very fucking weird just switch and bait movie, which, you know, just completely throws you off guard. It kind of starts off as a very slow drama where you're like, I don't know where this is going, and then the second half happens and you're like, whoa, this is fucking crazy. Again, I don't want to spoil anything. The fact that there are a lot of things to spoil in this movie should tell you something about it. But yeah, I would recommend Sundown. I highly enjoyed this movie. It's actually my first movie from this director that I've seen. And yeah, it makes me interested in checking out some of his other stuff. So yeah, Sundown. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie, and the last maybe 2 minutes of it are just are crazy, are really crazy, and kind of puts the whole movie into a completely new perspective, and you're like, wow, okay, cool. Anyways, moving on. The next film I watched is a little film called Gunda, and Gunda is the name of a mother pig, and this mother pig just recently gave birth to a bunch of piglets, and she lives on a farm. And on this farm are also a bunch of chickens and cows and other such farm animals that the film, very closely, intimately follows. The entire film is shot in black and white. There are no human characters from what I remember. It's quite literally just following nothing but farm animals throughout the entire thing. And it's a very transcendent, meditative experience of just, you know, following these farm animals and their daily lives and, you know, how they go about their lives. It's just really interesting seeing, you know, the camera just for such a long period of time just following these farm animals just to see what they do, and it's really interesting. You've never really seen a movie that, you know, puts things into perspective for you like this. A lot of people could easily be, you know, completely turned off by this movie because there's not a lot going on here, I'm not gonna lie. It's literally just a movie following a bunch of farm animals. There's no dialogue, there's no score, no music, no nothing. It's just, again, a meditative experience following the lives of these farm animals. And, you know, if you're in the mood for it, I'd say this is a fucking pretty great watch. It's just a really interesting movie that kind of puts you into, you know, the conscious mind of these animals, you know, how they go about, again, their daily lives as farm animals. And the last, you know, maybe 20 minutes of this movie, I believe it's one long shot of, I'm not gonna say it, but holy shit, you know, once you're sucked into this movie and you're just kind of accepting it and just going with the flow, the last 20 minutes kind of hits you hard, and you're like, holy shit, this is pretty fucking good. This is cinema. Mwah, this is cinema. The film is also produced by Joaquin Phoenix. As you could probably tell, the man is known for producing, you know, movies about farm animals, although there's nothing about this movie that's, you know, explicitly in your face of like, oh, go vegan, you know, save the farm animals, but rather it's just kind of showing you, you know, the lives of farm animals, and it's a very interesting watch. Again, if you're in the mood for it. I can't really recommend this movie to a lot of people because, you know, a lot of people will probably be like, that sounds fucking stupid, in which case I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're in the mood for it, if you're just down to just kind of chill out, watch something, maybe smoke a little weed, then I'd recommend it. I was in the right state of mind for this when I watched it, and, you know, again, I enjoyed this experience a lot. There's not really a movie out there quite like this, and I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. Alright, let's talk about Barbarian. I've been wanting to talk about Barbarian for a while on this channel, because this movie, holy shit. Barbarian is a movie that came out of nowhere. I first heard about it months before it was released, and I was like, oh, okay, that sounds cool, whatever. And then all the reviews started coming out, and people are like,
holy shit, this is the fucking craziest fucking horror movie to ever fucking come out.
And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And wowee, yeah, this movie did not disappoint. This film is about a young woman who arrives at this Airbnb for a job interview, quite literally in the middle of just a fucking dumpster fire of a city. Like, this place she's staying at is super duper sketchy. But anyways, yeah, she's staying at this Airbnb. And that's all I'm gonna say, because honestly, I think you should go into this movie as blind as humanly possible. If you haven't seen this movie yet, do not look anything up about it, just go into it completely blind. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. There are so many really cool twists and turns in this movie. The way that it reveals information to the audience, I think, is really fucking clever. The movie kind of uses this show don't tell approach. It's showing you what's going on without telling you. You know, you kind of have to put the pieces together yourself as an audience. The film is directed by Zach Krieger, who is somebody who I would never ever expect to direct a movie like this. This guy was actually a part of a comedy show in the 2000s called The Whitest Kids You Know, which is a very funny show that I used to watch back in the day. Another person a part of that show was Trevor Moore, who actually just recently passed away. Rest in peace, Trevor Moore. But yeah, I would never expect this guy to make a horror movie, you know, especially to this, you know, caliber, because this is some fucking game-changing shit as far as mainstream horror goes. The only other movie that this guy did was a film called Miss March, which is like an early 2000s comedy about this guy who falls in love with this Playboy model, and so they decide to go on a road trip to try and find her. But that movie actually stars Zach Krieger and Trevor Moore as like two buddies on a road trip. I remember watching that movie when I was a kid, and yeah, again, I would not expect this guy to make a movie like this. This is fucking crazy. You can tell he spent a lot of time and effort on it because yeah, the last thing he did, Miss March, was made in 2009. That was 13 years ago. It's 2022, and he's here with, you know, a fucking banger of a horror movie, let me tell you. But yeah, Barbarian's fucking awesome. I really don't know what else to say about it without spoiling anything. In fact, I might have a little spoiler portion going on right now, but I'll give my rating before I do that. I would probably give this movie an 8 out of 10. It's one of my favorite horror movies that I've seen this year so far. I would highly recommend it to probably anybody, honestly, because this movie, it's quite the game changer. It does some really cool, interesting things. I would actually like to talk about some spoiler stuff. So yeah, let's get into that. This is your warning. If you have not seen this movie before, go ahead and skip to this time code if you don't want to hear any spoilers. So this movie follows 3 different people. The first person that we follow is, I forget the name of the character, but it's Georgina Campbell. She plays the main character. She's the one who goes to the Airbnb. Bill Skarsgård ends up being at the same Airbnb, and it's like, whoa, what's up with this confusion? Bill Skarsgård seems a little sketchy. He seems like a not very trustworthy guy. That is until they find some secret ass shit going on in this house where there's, just dungeons upon dungeons upon dungeons. They start going deeper and deeper into this house, and they start going, into like these underground tunnels, and it gets fucking crazy. The farther they go down these tunnels, the crazier it gets. And then we follow Justin Long's character, who ends up being the next person who stays at this Airbnb. And I really like Justin Long's character because he kind of plays like this somewhat douchey Hollywood star who ends up getting accused for, like, I guess some sexual misconduct in the movie. And at first you kind of feel empathetic for him because you're like, oh, he's acting as if, the sexual allegations are not true. And he's like, oh, I can't believe they're doing this to me. They're ruining my life. But then the more the movie goes on, the more you're kind of seeing like his true colors as a character, and you're like, maybe this guy did do some not so cool stuff, maybe he kind of does seem like the type. But the movie kind of leaves that ambiguous, which I really like, because it's just kind of like, he's an unreliable character, which makes his fate, all the more fun. So I really enjoyed that a lot. And then the third person that this movie follows is Richard, who ends up being the psychopath in the movie. The movie jumps back in time like 40 years or so, and he, back to when he would basically kidnap people, put them into these underground tunnels, and do some very unfathomable things to these people. If you've seen this movie, you do know that there is a very scary creature in this film in the tunnels of this house, and that creature actually very much resembles the same creature in the movie Rec, or Record, however you want to pronounce it, that was released in 2007. It's a Spanish found footage horror film, one of the best found footage horror films ever made. But at the end of that film, there's a very similar creature that is like very tall, very lanky, very gross. It's like an older woman, and she's fucking scary, dude. Holy shit. But anyways, this movie also has a very similar creature in it. So when that happened, that kind of threw me off guard, because I was like, holy, that reminds me a lot of the, the monster in Wreck. But, I can tell where this guy got his inspirations from. He definitely did his research with horror movies when making this, because I saw a lot of influences in here. But that being said, the movie's very well made. He did a fucking excellent job. I really, really hope he makes more horror movies like this in the future. I'm excited to see what he does next regardless. And yeah, I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for this guy. Speaking of Record, that's going to be the next movie I talked about, because I also watched Record because of this movie. So yeah, here we go. I also rewatched Rec recently because my friend has not seen it, so I decided to show it to him. And again, this movie's fucking timeless. Every time I watch it, it's a fucking blast. It's such a short movie. It's so jam-packed with awesome scary scenes. Really well put together sequences, it being a found footage movie. The third act of this movie is fucking horrifying. One of the scariest moments in any found footage movie, period. And just an all-around fucking great timeless found footage classic. If you guys haven't seen Wreck, I mean, what are you doing? Just watch this fucking movie. It's great. Another film I watched is The Cursed. The Cursed is actually a film that used to be called 8 for Silver, I want to say it was. Yeah, 8 for Silver is what the original title used to be. This movie actually played at Sundance of last year, 2021. I was going to get a screening for it, like an online screening, but it was sold out. I was too late, so I did not end up getting to watch it until recently, because it is released on Hulu, and this time it's released under a different title called The Curse. And yeah, this is a neat little movie. It takes place in the late 19th century. The movie follows this, this small village, specifically this family in this village. This village is all of a sudden plagued by this crazy clan who unleashes a curse. and then, you know, a boy is found murdered, and then somebody goes missing, and then, you know, a local suspect suspects that there's a wild animal on the loose in this village, and there's just a whole bunch of crazy shit going on in this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I liked it quite a bit. I would say the strongest aspects that this movie carries are the atmosphere, the world building, some of the cinematography is really fucking great. A lot of really cool wide shots that kind of linger on a very long time, that kind of just, like, you know, kind of give you the heebie-jeebies a little bit. The movie's just got a really moody, grimy atmosphere to it, and it does a really good job setting the mood for sure. The movie, unfortunately, is a little bit long. It's 111 minutes. I think it could have easily cut, you know, down 15 minutes, and it would not affect the movie whatsoever. In fact, that probably helped the movie a lot. But, you know, aside from that, it's a pretty cool movie. There are some CGI heavy sequences in here that could be a little touched up maybe here and there, but other than that, you know, a solid watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The movie's directed by Sean Ellis, who I've seen 2 other movies from this guy. I've seen a movie called The Broken, which I don't remember anything from that movie. I just know it was a part of, like, the 8 Scary Movies to Die For collection or something like that. Anyways, don't remember much of that one, but I do remember his first film called Cashback, which is actually an interesting movie about this guy who has the ability to kind of stop time. You know, he works at this grocery store. He just kind of wanders around the grocery stores. Everybody's just frozen in time, and he's able to do whatever he wants. Yeah, it's a very interesting movie. That one I do remember pretty vividly. But yeah, this guy's pretty cool. I recommend checking out The Cursed. I enjoyed it. I probably wouldn't watch it again anytime soon, but, you know, for the time being, it was a good watch. I would probably give it a 7 out of 10. And, yeah, give it a shot if it sounds cool to you. I also watched Terrifier for the first time. Yeah, that's right. You heard that right. This is a movie that's gotten a cult following over, you know, the past few years. I actually reviewed Damien Leone, who is the director of this movie, his very first movie. It was called All Hallows Eve, and it was an anthology horror movie with 3 short stories, if I'm not mistaken. One of them being the Terrifier short that this movie is actually based off of, that also features Art the Clown, the main antagonist in this Terrifier series. I reviewed that movie on my channel, and Damien Leone actually watched my review, and he reached out to me and was like, hey, thank you for reviewing my movie. I would love to send you, you know, a DVD copy of the movie and autograph it for you. And I was like, fuck yeah, thanks, dude. Actually, I think I have it. Let me show you guys. It should be here somewhere. Yes, here it is. Okay, so this is the original copy that he sent me. It says, to Jacob, thanks for the review, Damien Leone. And then Art the Clown himself also signed it. Very cool. Very fucking creepy guy. Yeah, I reviewed this movie, you know, way back in the day. I forget what year it was, but look at that guy. Look at that fucking scary ass dude. Anyways, I don't know why it took me this long to finally watch Terrifier, but I did, and let me tell you guys, this movie's fucking, it's a blast. I had a lot of fun with this movie. As I mentioned before, this is a full-length movie that is based off of a short film that Damien Leone did, which, you know, was a part of the All Hallows Eve anthology film, and this movie's fucking, it's a lot of fun. It is brutal. One thing I will give Damien Leone is that he knows how to... He knows how to make a really fucking grotesque horror sequence that just fucking sticks with you. He's really good at making just really intense, gory, fucking balls-to-the-wall horror sequences of just some of the most grotesque, you know, kills that you could possibly imagine. And, you know, on top of all this, the fucking Art the Clown, he's fucking scary. This is a fucking iconic character right here. I knew from the second that I saw the first movie, All Hallows Eve, that this guy was going somewhere. Perhaps not gonna be put on the same pedestal as, like, say, maybe Freddy or Jason or Michael Myers, but pretty damn close. As far as, like, low-budget horror movies goes, he definitely made a name for himself. The movie is very short. It's 84 minutes long, and you can definitely feel it's low budget. It's very, very low budget. You can definitely tell that he was, you know, trying to work with the resources that was, you know, available to him, and he did a very, very good job with it. Hang on, what the fuck? I got a FaceTime. Hang on, sorry. What's up, man?
Hey, man.
How's it going?
Can you go in my room and get my pink iPad off my amp? And then I need you to send me a picture or something. It shouldn't take too much time, but I'm making this...
Alright, I got your iPad. What do you need? It's not working. I think it's dead.
No way.
Yeah. I think I have a charger for it. Hang on. I'm making a video, actually. That's pretty funny.
If If you scroll down, there should be a couple of images that says my shit. It's like
Yep.
a bundle. And then go to the one that has all the melons on it.
Yep. This one?
Yeah. Can you just send me a picture of that in its entirety on your iPhone?
Yeah.
Alright, bro. I'll see you in a bit. I think it's gonna be an earlier day if you want to watch a movie tonight or some shit.
Sounds good, man. I'm finishing up this video talking about Terrifier right now.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah.
When are you gonna go see the new one?
I don't know. We'll see. I'm feeling a lot better today, so I'm debating on doing something, but we'll see.
Oh, let me know.
Alright, man. I'll see you when you get home.
Alright, send me that shit.
Alright, will do. Bye-bye. Anyways, sorry about that. I was talking about Terrifier. Yeah, so Terrifier is pretty fucking cool. Like I said, you can feel it's low budget. Acting isn't great. The cinematography isn't fucking amazing. But as somebody who's seen a lot of movies like this, I kind of already, know what I'm getting into. It didn't really bother me that much, but I know it's something that could probably bother some people, especially people who are first hearing about Terrifier, especially now that the sequels come out this year and it's starting to get into the mainstream. There's probably people who have never heard of Terrifier or Art the Clown who are like, oh, let's watch the first one, and they're probably going to be thrown off by its low budget. But personally, that kind of thing doesn't really bother me. I've been watching movies like this since I was a little kid, so as fucked up as that sounds. But that's why I made this channel. Terrifier is fucking great. It's a blast. It has some amazing kills in it. I cannot wait to watch the sequel. I probably would give Terrifier, I'm leaning between a 7 and an 8. I might go towards an 8. I don't know. It's around there. Yeah, it's just a fun time. I really enjoyed this movie. Would highly recommend it if you guys haven't seen it yet. Terrifier, give it a shot. I also watched a movie called Where the Crawdads Sing. It came out earlier this year. It's based off of a book written by Delia Owens, and it is pretty cool, pretty good. It's about this little girl named Kaya who ends up raising herself all alone in the marshes outside of her small town in Louisiana or something like that. She was basically abandoned by her family at a very young age, and she kind of has this entire house to herself. What happens is it kind of jumps forward in time, like 20-30 years. I don't know exactly when, but her former boyfriend is found dead, and she's a suspect of the murder. So the movie kind of jumps back and forth between, like, some of the courtroom scenes of them talking about whether or not she did it, and then also jumps back to when she was growing up and her time with this boyfriend, and it's very interesting seeing it all play out. And then of course at the end it all just kind of comes together and it all makes sense, and you're like, okay, it's very cleverly put together. It's probably not something I would watch probably ever again. But it's a nice little movie. It's a solid little watch. It's pretty well made. It does nothing fucking outstanding or groundbreaking, but if you have nothing to do on, like, a rainy Sunday night and you just kind of want to put on something, this isn't a bad choice. It's a pretty solid movie. I would personally probably give it a 6 out of 10. Pretty decent little movie. Again, nothing too outstanding. The acting isn't amazing. Nothing about this movie is amazing. It's just a very standard movie, but I enjoyed it. It's got some nice small town murder mystery to it, and some of that young adult romance that all you kids love. And yeah, it's a pretty nice little movie. Yeah, check it out if you want. The last movie I'm going to be talking about in this video is Rob Zombie's The Munsters. Yeah, so, wow, very interesting movie. I remember when the trailer dropped for this movie, and I watched the trailer and I was like, ooh boy, what are we getting into? I actually want to say that Rob Zombie, well, he wrote and directed this, but he also, I want to say, edited this movie as well as edited the trailer. I think he didn't pay a lot of money for, the marketing for this movie, so he did all the marketing himself. Hence why, the trailer is kind of crudely put together, but it also kind of fits the vibe of the movie in a weird way. But yeah, the trailer for this movie wasn't great. It kind of looked like a very just cheap, poorly done, fan-made film of the Munsters. It didn't look too good. But anyways, this movie was released straight to Netflix and also straight to Blu-ray and DVD. Didn't even get a theatrical release. The Munsters, it's a fun movie. It's surprisingly a pretty fun movie, I think, at least. I know this is a very controversial movie. There's a lot of mixed opinions on it. Some people hate it for very obvious reasons. The lighting especially isn't very great. You can kind of tell that they just put like these fucking really bright, you know, neon lights on these actors. As far as the acting goes, I think Jeff Daniel Phillips actually did a pretty good job playing Herman Munster. He probably was one of the best characters in the movie. He was very charismatic. He's very theatrical. You can tell he's having a lot of fun making this movie. Sherry Moon Zombie did an okay job. Honestly, I'm still not too crazy about her casting choice. You know, Rob Zombie obviously only casted her because it's his wife. It's his Johnny Depp to Tim Burton, you know, he just has to include her in all of his movies. And then Daniel Roebuck plays the Count in this movie, the grandpa, and he did a fine job as well. You know, the acting all around was pretty cool. Richard Brake, speaking of him, who is also in Barbarian, is also in this film, as well as some other little cool cameos, like Cassandra Peterson, who a lot of you know as Elvira, Mistress of the Darkness, is in this movie. Dee Wallace is also in this film. You got a bunch of nice little cameos in here. The movie's fun. You can very much tell it's more catered towards kids, as well as like some hardcore fans of the show. And this movie is actually kind of a prequel to the original series. This movie is actually focusing on how Herman Munster and Lily Munster met. They actually don't meet until like halfway through the movie. That is one complaint I have with this movie, is it's very long. It's almost 2 hours, and it takes a while to pick up. The movie actually seems like it's about to start right where it ends, and it does have some pacing problems. It definitely could have been trimmed up a bit, and you know, it's just a prequel. It's just kind of showing the origins of the Munsters, how they came about to be a family. The little werewolf boy isn't even in here. He's not even a character. It's way before then. I actually do enjoy, in a very weird way, some of Rob Zombie's editing in here. It's very, you know, sometimes in your face, very crazy, much akin to like, you know, the horror movies that took place around this time period of like the 50s and 60s. Very out there. He does a lot of interesting editing choices, like, you know how like in the original Batman series you get like the hypno background with like, you know, somebody's face, and it's like there's a lot of that kind of shit in here. The movie's very Rob Zombified. You know, Rob Zombie's name is written all over this thing. I mean, like, this is his movie. This is, you know, his version of the Munsters. I guess this was a passion project of his. And you can tell he poured a lot of, you know, love and effort into this movie. It's nothing special. It doesn't do anything super crazy. If anything, it's just a really fun watch, you know, to watch on around the Halloween season. It's also one of those movies where I can completely understand how some people may dislike it. I can understand why people might love it. You know, it all kind of comes down to whether or not, you know, how you feel about Rob Zombie, how you feel about the Munsters. If you don't really care about either of those things, then steer far away from this movie. But if you're a Rob Zombie fan, if you're a fan of the Munsters, I think there is a lot you can get out of this. But overall, I enjoyed it. I honestly liked it more than I thought I would. I would probably end up giving this movie a 7 out of 10. But I am a huge Rob Zombie fan. I really like his movies. I think he's one of the most interesting directors working today, in the sense that, you know, he just kind of makes whatever the fuck he wants to make. He doesn't care what you have to think or say about it. He makes movies for nobody else but him. And, you know, you can clearly see that, you know, and it's, you know, I respect that. I admire that in somebody. Anyways, yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say about the Munsters. And that is also all I have to say about all the movies that I watched in September. Yeah, wow, this is a long video. This went a lot longer than I thought it would. Thank you guys for watching this video on all the movies that I watched in September. Let me know if you want to see more of these types of videos. It would mean a lot to me if you guys would, you know, let me know how you feel about this type of format. Stay tuned for more videos coming very soon. Again, sorry it took so long for this to come out. I was sick. There were other things going on. But thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys later. That's it. Alright. See ya. Bye.